It's called the Humanity First vision. And that begins with a universal basic income. That begins with direct cash money into your hands every single month for the rest of your life. If you look at my Instagram feed, I didn't set out to run for Congress. If you just scroll,
y'all need to scroll down a little bit.
You just scroll a little bit.
You won't be disappointed. No. Welcome to Queer Talk. I'm your host, Justin Gerhard. Our guest today is a political candidate running in New York's 10th district for Congress. He is a queer civil rights organizer, a legal advocate, and also is endorsed by Andrew Yang. Please welcome Jonathan Herzog. Thank you for joining us on the network. Finally, we got you on here. It's amazing.
I love it. Good to be here.
Not in person like we wanted to be.
I know.
But, how has it been for you in COVID times?
Campaign-wise, we are picking up steam and gaining momentum just in the right moment. Early voting actually starts on June 13th, and it goes through June 21st. And this covers the entire west side of Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen, Greenwich Village, the West Village, all of the above, and parts of South Brooklyn. So yes, this is happening. This is our time, and we can get it done.
First, before we get to all the politics, I just want to know a little bit about Jonathan. Tell us who Jonathan is.
I am the gay son of immigrants, born and raised in Hell's Kitchen in New York City. As you said before, I'm a queer civil rights organizer and legal advocate. Outside of the professional world, I love musical theater and Broadway and love swimming and strength training when I can.
What prompted you to do this?
Well, in this moment, Justin, more than 100,000 Americans have died. In this moment, more than 40 million are unemployed. In this moment, we've entered a new Great Depression. Congress has been on recess. Congress has failed to pass or fund testing or contact tracing at any scale. So I'm running to represent the west side of Manhattan and South Brooklyn in Congress, in the federal government. And so there are 435 members of Congress who represent different districts around the country. Mm-hmm. And Congress is actually the only body, the only entity that has the power of the purse, which basically just means controls the cash money and decides where it goes. So it's the only entity in the United States and the world that has the mandate, the scale, and the scope to deal with the magnitude of the crises we're facing.
Based on what you are running on, with what I know of what you're running on, Congress makes much more sense for you in terms of that it's the cash flow, that it is the place where money is decided where it goes.
Yeah, so we're running one of the most important policy priorities is the freedom dividend, is a universal basic income, which was the idea that Martin Luther King was fighting for nearly a half century ago. And it's a very simple idea. It's that every single American adult gets $2,000 a month during the pandemic. Every American child gets $1,000 a month during the pandemic. And then $1,000 for every adult and $500 for every child thereafter in perpetuity. We can choose in our time to eradicate poverty. 1 in 5 LGBTQ people in the United States today lives in poverty, and 1 in 3 trans people of color today live in poverty.
It's amazing that this hasn't happened already yet, if it's possible. And if it is possible, and it's clearly a part of your platform, how is it possible?
From the trillions of dollars of value generated from our data. So if we pass a value-added tax, a mechanism that every other advanced industrialized economy in the world has, we can easily afford this universal basic income. This
money, it's that we're going to tax the Amazon, the Netflix, that right now have no federal tax, pay no federal tax.
That's right.
That also is something I think people are starting to wake up to and go, what?
And the incumbent I'm running against, the 30-year incumbent, he led and co-sponsored this recent multi-trillion-dollar bailout of the largest multinational firm with crumbs for people.
So this seems to be a huge pillar of your platform. And what else is a part of your platform?
One other key part of the platform is a data bill of rights, a data property rights, where if anyone should benefit and profit from the sale and the resale of our data, it should be us in countries all around the world, including in Europe, where they have what's called the GDPR. It's fundamental data protections that includes the right to not just be known or not just know what data is being collected about you, but the right to be forgotten, the right to protect your identity and protect against false information. And this is so fundamental, again, because we're facing 21st century crises, and we need 21st century solutions to tackle them.
What is that vision look like?
So it's called the Humanity First vision. It's a vision where, again, as an American citizen, you have as a new right of citizenship, a foundation, a floor below which you can't fall. And that begins with a universal basic income. That begins with direct cash money into your hands every single month for the rest of your life. And this really means a lot to me, as a queer person and as part of the queer community, because to me, the whole vision is about unconditional love. Unconditional love for ourselves, for our families, for our neighbors, for every human being, and recognizing our intrinsic worth, our intrinsic equal worth as people.
We've come to this point in time in our history too, where the Black Lives Matter movement has really come to the forefront again. And I'm wondering if those protests and those voices that are being heard has changed your platform at all.
Well, certainly it unfortunately just illustrated to your point that we need real, substantive, structural criminal justice and policing reform now. No more silence, no more inaction, no more lip service. More than 1,000 people have been shot and killed by police in the past year alone. We need a federal use of force standard as necessary only in last resort. We have to demilitarize the police. We have to end qualified immunity, have a national public database of police violations. And we know in this country, people of color are expected to be a majority by 2043. But Black net worth, median net worth, is expected to be 0 by 2053. Black households have 1/10 the wealth of white households in this country. And as we talked about before, 1 in 3 trans people of color today in the United States live in poverty. We can change this once and for all. It is a choice in the wealthiest, most advanced, abundant society in the history of the world.
I'm curious to know what some of the challenges have been for you in running for Congress, campaigning.
Well, the powers that be at every single turn make it challenging for real people to try to run to represent their communities. So you couldn't open a campaign checking account. Nadler and the whole New York State Democratic Party cabal tried to cancel the primary. So we fought for weeks in federal court and won in the Southern District and in the Second Circuit to restore our constitutional rights to vote. What was shocking is the week before, voting was made safe by mail for everyone. So if you go to nycabsentee.com/absentee over the next 2 or 3 days, you can vote safely by mail anywhere. Have it mailed to you and postage paid, you can vote. When you look at this pandemic, when they chose to play pandemic politics and try to cancel primaries instead of funding testing, contact tracing, or shut down the city just 10 days sooner when the incumbent was trying to get on the ballot. The former CDC director said, Justin, if New York had shut down just 10 days sooner, up to 80% of deaths could have been avoided. But this district is also ground zero for the concentration of market power, for income inequality. Before COVID, before Trump, 1 in 6 people lived in poverty. You have crumbling public housing on the opposite side of the same street luxury housing developments sitting vacant. This is the fundamental dynamic we have to switch and flip that script on its head. We have to bail out the people.
I also want to know who inspires you in politics right now? Who inspires you in your campaigning? Because there's got to be a reason you're doing this.
I mean, honestly, Justin, it is the thousands, the tens of thousands of organizers and activists who are putting their bodies and their lives on the line to make change happen, to ban once and for all chokeholds and neck holds, to put an end, put a stop to this cycle of police brutality. People who are fighting for change from the bottom up, from the grassroots, not from the top down. That is the real dynamic of this era. It's not left or right, it's top or bottom. It is grassroots as opposed to campaigns that are just funded by PACs and represent those interests. As you know, I had joined the founding team that built Andrew Yang's campaign, and I'm really proud to have his support in this race. But the great thing, Justin, is that the Yang Gang has grown leaps and bounds, where everyone from Pete Buttigieg to Tim Ryan to Mitt Romney to Justin Amash and AOC, Whoopi Goldberg and Dave Chappelle and everyone in between has come to realize the value of humanity first ideas, of ideas like the universal basic income. It's the most transformative policy for the LGBT community, for queer people, because it stands for freedom, for unconditional freedom to lead the lives we want to live and to build a future for ourselves. I'm running to be the first openly queer representative for the district with the largest LGBTQ population in this country. If you look at my Instagram feed, for example, at Jonathan Herzog 2020, you'll see how I didn't set out to run for Congress. If you just scroll,
yeah, y'all need to scroll down a little bit.
You just scroll a little bit.
You won't be disappointed. No.
I wanted to just be my full self and not hide any part of who I am. And there's some people who aren't thrilled with that. But the great thing about running at home, where I am of, by, and from this community, is that's the only thing I can be. So if some of my scantily clad Speedo photos offend you, so be it.
How are you going to get people to vote, Jonathan? This is what we need people to do.
That's right. We have the power to get this done. We just need 15,000 votes by June 23rd, and we have won the seat. That's the power the queer community will have in the halls of Congress. Early voting starts June 13th through June 21st, and then we're going to have a party at the polls on June 23rd on primary day. And you can also vote by mail. So if you go to nycabsentee.com/absentee or go to my website, herzog2020.com, you can find out it is easy, it is fun, you get a sticker, it's the best, and you got to help save democracy.
I mean, it's a win. Sticker, save democracy, change the course of this country. Well, I just want to thank you, Jonathan, for joining us on the Queer Network, for sharing your platform, your views, and it's really exciting to see what you have planned for this country if you get in on June 23rd. Everybody, please get out and vote. This is so important and crucial. You can do it by mail. You can do it in person and have a party with us at the polls. And please go support Jonathan's campaign. Head over to his website. Jonathan's website is herzog2020.com. We'll put it down in the box below. And if you have never been to the Queer Network before, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Smash that subscribe button below. Do it.
Yes. All right, everybody, remember, keep it queer.
Keep it queer.